What's up, everyone? It's Roger and Abe here from DisKingdom.com with another episode of This Kingdom podcast. In this episode, we are going to be discussing the announcement of from the Star Wars land at the Disneyland 60th special that was just aired earlier today, but they'll be out a bit later for you guys. So, Abe, you saw this. What was your initial impressions? We touched this a little bit on the Disneyland 60th episode, but what did you think?
It was definitely awesome. I mean, we finally, you get to see Harrison Ford come out on stage, getting a standing ovation, and finally introduces what we all been waiting for, is details regarding Star Wars Land and what we're going to experience. They mentioned, we're going to have an experience where we get to pilot our own Millennium Falcon, and they showed some cool little footage of some somewhat like Nintendo 3DS rendered footage of, or at least that's what it looked like, of you and a Millennium Falcon taking off and seeing space and whatever, or the planet, whatever. Then they went straight into the other major attraction, which is you fighting for the Resistance and all that stuff. And there was like space battle. And from, again, the small little rendered video that they showed, it kind of reminded me of those who are familiar who have been on either Transformers the ride, or even the Spider-Man ride, which is similar at Universal Studios. It seems like that it was that type of vehicle where it was open and the screens were around you and above you.
Because they were being shot at from the top, and it was moving. And I must admit, that was the first thing I was thinking of. I was thinking, this looks like a new version of the Transformers Spider-Man movie.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest, that could be epic. Because it's one thing doing Star Tours, but you've already got Star Tours, so you need to do something different. And that it could be fast. It could be it's like, hey, that looks pretty good. And like you said, it kind of did look like that's separate from the Millennium Falcon flight. Like those are the two different rides,
two different attractions. That's correct.
Yeah.
The other things that they introduce, it looks very interesting in the sense that this might be either just concept art to sell it, and it could be just pretend it's not going to be this good, or it might be extremely epic when it actually happens, which is the idea of them hiring many more people to be cast members just to play the alien life forms or robot people around, robot people controlling or whatever. If that's the case, if when we walk into Star Wars Land, we're actually going to have that much interaction and that much movement, that will be interesting. Although I still feel like it was maybe a little oversold with the concept art.
I was thinking. All I could imagine is just like lots and lots of sunny eclipses in. I don't know if you've seen it in the. I don't know if it's out in Disneyland Sunny Eclipse. Where he's just this like lounge singing alien in the restaurant where you're sitting there eating your burgers, and he just pops up and he does a bit of animatronics, and I'm just going, is that what we're gonna get? We're just gonna have like cantina band people going.
I feel like that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna have a cantina, and we're gonna have people performing music, or animatronics performing music, whatever, similar to the cantina. Then they showed like a dining experience, which is kind of similar to that. I kind of had the vibe of the Be Our Guest restaurant in Florida to me, except all Star Wars version. I think one of the coolest things that did kind of pique my interest when they showed the concept art was like the marketplace and the shops, and how it's going to be busy and a lot of movement. I mean, it looks cool. Then it was some cool concept art. Don't get me wrong. And the idea of having some animatronics moving around the land like we used to out here. I mean, we used to. All the ones that you see in all the other parks originally started out here, like Lucky the Dinosaur, or Push the Trash Can, or even Bunsen and Beaker, Bunsen, Honeydew, and Beaker from the Muppets. I mean, we had those animatronics that used to walk around in our theme parks. If they're gonna have something like that where we have a bunch of droids going by, like different R2 units or even BB-8 units, and I mean that's gonna be interesting. So, but other than that, I mean, as a whole, that whole presentation during the special, it was almost everything we already knew, other than the little videos. But
yeah, I mean, I think with the staff. I mean, you've got to be thinking. There's one thing having, you're going to have if you have a few guests dressed up as characters like they're not really going to be able to wander around because people are going to be wanting to take selfies with them. So I imagine you're going to have a few like static, larger creatures in corners and stuff behind the bar, kind of doing stuff to kind of do. But it's like staff. I mean, are they going to be like greening up and redding up people to kind of, with face paint to kind of get around being on an alien planet, but carrying on with their work, that kind of thing. Because it's got to be practical. If these people are serving you, they can't be, it's like they can't have full on masks and stuff trying to take your orders and stuff. It's not going to work. I mean, stormtroopers are easy because they can just wander through, and I mean, I know they're going to have that procession coming in soon as well from with Captain Phasma and some of the troopers that go from launch bay to the stage show. But yeah,
but that kind of concerns me too, because I mean, if you think about it, all your masked or covered or any characters that you see in the park, you always have somebody escorting them.
Yeah,
and to have continuous people escorting a bunch of aliens in a Star Wars land, I don't know if that's going to work. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting in terms of how they're going to do that. That's why I'm kind of thinking you might get people with very, very basic outfits doing the work and doing all the restaurants and being front of house, kind of with a few big creatures in the corner just behind the bar. I think behind the bar is a perfect place to put someone so they look like they're doing something, but people can't get to them, it's like, not being funny, but if you've got a couple of tables of aliens on, they're going to want to turn that space over. So there's a kind of that fine line between taking up valuable space for tables that can turn money over in characters. I do think it may be a little bit over the top of what we were expecting. I can't see them doing you're going to walk into Mos Eisley and there's going to be all these different people and all these aliens walking around. Well, it feels like that anyway when you go into a park out there with the amount of people and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit over the top on maybe the things. But the rides do look interesting, and we definitely seem to be in very early stages.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's way too early for us to tell at this point. I mean, all we're looking at is pretty pictures of what it might look like, and some interesting footage of what it could be like when we're on these rides. But I don't know. It's again too early to tell. I just hope that it turns out to be as magical and as awesome as they want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, also during the Disneyland 60th, they kind of did did Star Wars Live, where they were showing off some of the music and the stage show and stuff, which I know is going on tour in the US. And I saw it, and I must be honest, I did kind of skip forward a bit because when you got an orchestra just playing it with a hologram of the movie in the background, it's kind of one of those things. If I think when you're live, it works well, but when you're watching on a screen, it doesn't quite translate the same way because you don't have that connection. I think if Star Wars Live was coming to a city near me, I'd go see it.
Yeah,
but it doesn't maybe translate as well on screen. Maybe just a small bit. I don't know what you think. What you thought of that?
No, it was a cool little piece, but it was just part of a long special that just filled it up with a lot of musical performances. So yeah, and I think we just slightly touch on it on the last DisKingdom podcast where we talked about kind of Harrison Ford kind of presenting it kind of sort of full on Oscars nomination kind of, here I am, I'm never going to win an Oscar for Star Wars kind of thing, but it felt interesting. That's all.
Yeah, we were definitely kind of like, kind of this. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but there's like award ceremony, like you say, speeches that just kind of come across so forced, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. All I have to say is just bring on Star Wars Land. Regardless of the fact of what we got to see, I'm just excited that it's coming. So.
Because, I mean, Hollywood Studios are bringing in, they're bringing in a new fireworks show. They're bringing in a new stage show. They're bringing in the procession. And that's all starting this summer. So they're definitely bringing in the Star Wars content with this new fireworks shows and stuff. It feels like they're just shoehorning as much Star Wars stuff into these parks. I know you've got them out in the US, in California, where you've got the season of the Force. It very much feels like, right, we've got all the Star Wars stuff coming. It's very hot right now, but we're just trying to put in as much stuff in the side while we're building everything.
Oh no, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, they're gonna milk this cow as much as they can. I mean, we have more movies coming. We have Rogue One, that apparently, is still kind of quiet. I think we finally got to see bits and pieces. Or is there a trailer out? I don't know. I thought I saw that there was
nothing out for that yet.
It was a fake trailer then, because I saw some announcement. But that's the thing. I mean, we have more content coming. And that's the cool thing. And Star Wars isn't going anywhere for quite a few years, so keep going with it.
Yeah, whenever you see I see comments and stuff of people going, "No, I don't want Star Wars. It's not Disney," and all the rest. It's like, get used to it, because Star Wars is a massive, massive draw to a huge generation. This is the biggest movie franchise in the world. This is not going anywhere. This is a different. This is part of a lot of people's upbringing and a lot of people's childhoods and a lot of people's lives. It ain't going anywhere.
You know what? And just to put a cherry on top of it, what you just said, when people say Star Wars is not Disney, you guys, The Force Awakens was Disney. So yeah, Star Wars is Disney now, regardless whether you like it or not. It's Disney.
I think as well. I'm going to be honest. I think for me, you see, because Star Wars has always been in the parks.
Yeah,
I think for me, when I was back to even a kid, we had Star Tours. Every single trip I've ever been on to Disney, there was always Star Tours. There was always a Star Wars shop. So therefore, it might sound silly, but it's always been a major draw. I always had to do it because that was my favorite ride to go do it at Hollywood Studios or even in Paris. I remember it was nearly 20 years ago. Me and my friends just running around redoing Star Tours over and over again. This was 20 years ago. This is not new. Star Wars is part of my Disney experience as far back as I can ever remember.
I agree. I mean, that's the same way I feel about Indiana Jones. I mean, because that's how I grew up. We had an Indiana Jones adventure. We had Star Tours. It's part of my childhood. I think I remember the first time I got lost at Disneyland was because my sister and I decided to. Oh no, my mom was supposed to meet us at the exit of Indiana Jones. My sister and I got there, and my mom took my little sister to the Bengal barbecue, and we missed each other. But my memory is ingrained Indiana Jones. I mean, it's always been part of Disneyland. Same with Star Tours, which is Star Wars. So yeah. It's Disneyland. It's Disney. Enjoy it, because Star Wars is Disney. So is Pixar. Yeah. So is all those other places like Marvel. It's Disney. You gotta just deal with it.
Yeah, I think it's like you said. Now, I think maybe for us again, maybe our brains and maybe being big Star Wars fans, stuff like you say, it's part of Disney to us, even though it wasn't. So I think it's a lot maybe easier than Marvel, because Marvel was not part of that as a kid. It was more of a universal thing for me when I went to later parks. But Star Wars was always part of a Disney experience, so therefore it doesn't feel different. Well, I'd love to know your thoughts on all this news. Be sure to hit that subscribe button as well and comment below. Big thank you to Ethan over at sortapps.com and Magic Band Collectors for being a patron, and to our other patrons as well who get these episodes a little bit earlier than everybody else. Big thank you to Abe for joining me again today for this one, and we shall be back next week for some more episodes of the DisKingdom podcast, and you'll find lots and lots of them on YouTube channel and also on iTunes and stuff. So again, may the force be with you.
You too.
Nanu. Nanu. Later, guys.
Later, guys.